What does illegal immigration, slavery, and the House of Representatives all have in common? Politics, propaganda, and power. A dangerous trinity that has been occurring since 1787. Rosie the Riveter here, dropping more truth bombs to destroy fake news and propaganda. Before we get started, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my channel. It really does help spread the truth with more people. Don't forget to hit the notification bell as well so you can see more videos when they are uploaded. Let's get into today's riveting topic. Last November, people anxiously watched their devices on election night, breathlessly waiting to see if the Republicans would take control of the House and maybe even the Senate. 2 months later, all eyes were on the House again while members negotiated for a week as they elected the Speaker. Then, before the dust even settled, Joe Biden finally decided to visit the border after denying for 2 years that there was even an issue with illegal immigration. However, before he made it, El Paso made sure to clean up all the homeless immigrants sleeping on the streets, shooing them off to different areas so Biden, and even more importantly, the media, would not see it and report on it. So, why did Biden go now? What changed? I think it's partly due because they lost the House. There is a direct line between illegal immigration, slavery, and our House of Representatives. And we have been manipulated for centuries because of it. Let me explain, patriots. When the founders gathered in Independence Hall in 1787 to determine what direction this new country would go, many different forms of government were discussed. Knowing they wanted the people to be in control of who governed them, the founders began to explore an elected body that would represent them directly. Some argued every state should have the same number of delegates regardless of size, which the less populated states supported. The more densely populated states contended they have a greater number of people, so they should have more representation. In addition, it was also debated whether these delegates represented the state or the people directly. As I explained in my liberating letter, The New Trinity, with neither side willing to yield, several delegates worked together to produce the Connecticut or Great Compromise. Proposing a lower and upper chamber, it is the basis of our Congress today. The House of Representatives is comprised of members from each state based on the state's population. These local representatives are voted on by the people and represent local interests. The closest government officials to the people, they are voted on every 2 years. This allows the public the ability to quickly discard any representative who is not doing his job. The Senate contains 2 congressmen from each state, originally elected by state legislatures, to represent the interests of the state. At the same time that Congress was hashing out the country's new form of government, outlined in the Constitution of the United States, they were also passing legislation regarding the Northwest Territory. In July, they passed their third and final Northwest Ordinance, which declared the territory that eventually formed Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, Indiana, and Illinois would be free states, while most of the northern states had already abolished slavery. Even before the Constitution was penned, the country was already growing and outlawing slavery in those new territories. This led to a major disagreement among the founders when designing the Congress. Seeing an opportunity to permanently control the House, the South demanded slaves be counted in the state's population, giving them the advantage and securing votes for their cause. Northern states challenged this, arguing since slaves were not represented in Congress, they should not be counted. Again, delegates were at an impasse. Another compromise was made, referred to as the three-fifths rule. Every 5 slaves would be counted as 3 people. It in no way suggested Negroes were less of a human. It was in every way the pro-abolition North trying to prevent slave states from exploiting Negroes to dominate the House, preventing any possibility of abolishing slavery in the future. As part of the deal, slave owners had to designate their slaves as property and pay taxes on them. As slavery was a very divisive topic, it was agreed to postpone any disruption in the practice until 1808. At that time, the importation of slaves could be terminated. Okay, Rosie, but what does this have to do with illegal immigration? Well, a lot, actually. During Trump's presidency, he took action to include a citizenship question in the 2020 census. Democrats not only had a meltdown, they fought it all the way to the Supreme Court. Why? Why is it such a problem to know who is a citizen and who is not? He has also been a strong advocate for voter ID to prevent ineligible people from voting, which was also met with amazing pushback from blue states. Only citizens are allowed to vote, so only citizens should be counted when determining representatives. By not allowing the question to even be asked, anyone recorded in the census will be used for assigning the number of representatives per state. Slaves were not considered citizens, but that did not stop the slave owners from using them for their own benefit either. Just having the extra bodies gives states more representatives. But it's more than just representatives. The number of electoral votes a state is given is determined by the number of representatives they have, plus the 2 senators that every state has. Therefore, states can not only obtain more power in Congress by having more representatives, it gives them more leverage in determining the presidency because of people who aren't even allowed to vote or have representation themselves. Kind of like what the slave owners were trying to do in 1787, don't you think? Following the Civil War and the passing of the 14th Amendment, Democrats lost a huge voting base as 99.99% of blacks, both ex-slaves and non-slaves, voted Republican. Slave states not only lost a major advantage in the number of representatives they could have just by body count, those people were now voting for the opposition. Therefore, the KKK was organized to strong arm and terrorize those individuals into voting Democrat. That's why when Johnson passed the Civil Rights Act in 1964, he admitted they believed they finally locked that voter bloc up for the next 200 years. But the black vote is not enough. Wanting more and more control, politicians set their sight on illegal immigrants, starting the same manipulation with representatives all over that they had up until the Civil War. But Rosie, don't they want to make the illegals legal? Yep. They are enticing them to come here by offering them political treats like health care, Social Security, food stamps, and free housing. But this time, they are not going to lose those people for 100 years. They don't need a century to hook them with free food, free housing, and money. The Democrats already have that set up. And the only thing illegals need to do to keep that gravy train going on the plantation is give them their vote. It is well known that when you rely on someone else for your livelihood and your essentials, they own you. You are their slave. How is this any different? Did you know slave owners would tell their slaves how hard life would be if they left and went to the free North, trying to convince them that slavery was better than freedom? Why would you want to have to go and work so hard to support yourselves when you can stay here and I'll feed you and clothe you and house you? Are you getting the picture yet? California is hemorrhaging citizens. So is New York. If this trend continues, their House representation and electoral college influence will dwindle as well. So how do they replenish the body count? Illegals. An overwhelming population that cannot speak English, but I guarantee you they will be in the voting booth and helped on who to vote for. Don't believe me? Ask yourself. At a time when many are starting to push for voter ID to prevent fraud, California Governor Newsom signs a bill to allow illegals to obtain state IDs. New York is trying it too. This is not rocket science, patriots. Not only are they not hiding their agenda anymore, they are proudly proclaiming it. Now, there are many other serious issues that go along with illegal immigration, including drug trafficking, human and sex trafficking, entry of MS-13 members who have records of murdering and raping, not to mention your average terrorist just crossing the American border undetected. All of these are very serious issues and have been addressed differently under previous administrations, and they are all topics for other videos. However, if you can solve the stealing of our votes and power in the House, many of these other issues will be addressed and resolved by those the people actually choose to put in office. We are seeing that right now as the new House leadership is finally pushing through legislation to help the people. Agenda the people want, not themselves. So when you see Biden and the Democrats do everything they can to allow these illegals to invade America, maybe the information you just heard will give you pause when they say they are doing it to help the immigrants. Think about it. If they were helping the illegals, they would be exposing the problem, not hiding it, right? Even CNN called Biden out for going to El Paso and not even going close to the migrants. The truth is, what we are witnessing is not compassion. It's not sympathy. It's not even merciful. It is an unadulterated, blatant effort to grab permanent power, just like the slave owners tried. I'm Rosie the Riveter, and that's my 2 cents. But what do you think? Leave your comments down below. Make no mistake, we are in an information war, and our weapon is truth. Find it. If you don't know where to start, begin at thefactspaper.com, where I have links to thousands of articles fighting fake news and propaganda, including those noted in this video. Investigate and discover the truth for yourself. The fight is tough and the fight is hard, but we are winning. The light of truth will destroy the evils of darkness. Come on, patriots. We can do it.